Hello, poor people. How are you today? Tonight's discourse is going to be a continuation of our previous subject, the various difficulties you would encounter on your path to success. We also stratified the phases of life into three major segments. Now, there are more than that, but I decided to reduce it to three. So, the first one is the beginning phases, the middle phase, and the end, which is the outcome of your desire. And with each of these phases comes unique problems. For every segment, there is a unique problem, a unique difficulty associated. Devoid of the understanding to solve this problem is most likely it will wear you down. It will prevent you from achieving your goals. As we said, perception is everything. Once you change how you look at something, what you're looking at changes. So the problem is not the problem is the perception. Because you and I can look at a flag, one might be patriotic, the other disgusted. So the same objects of focus, but different perception. And if we were to act based on what we see, our result would be vastly apart. So the same object of focus, but different outcome. Why? Perception. In the last discourse, we treated the middle phase. We emphasized the middle part is always lonely. You are going to become fatigued. The difficulty you encounter in that phase of your life is weariness. Human beings need incentives to act, whether physically, materially, but there has to be some incentive. And with all things, human beings are adaptable. So once a result has been consistent long enough, you would need another kind of incentive. As a poor man, you would want money to pay your bills. But once you've exceeded that point of lack, you want to be an investor, you want to be respected, you exceed that, and now you're looking for power. Basic economics lets us know that the human wants is insatiable. So, irregardless of where you find yourself in, you would always want more. And this idea of complacency, I'm no longer interested. All I want is a nice house, a nice car, and a beautiful family with a dog. That's enough for me. Usually, the people who make this kind of statements are smart enough to understand a heightened lifestyle comes with its own problem. So it's most likely when you have a lot of finances, there is an end product, there's something it attracts to you. Either you have to sacrifice your family to work long hours, or there's something you have to sacrifice. And it depends on how you route these finances. Legally, you have a target on your back. Illegally, there's always a target on your back. Someone is trying to sabotage your effort somewhere. And you would understand perfectly as you climb the rungs of success, you would inevitably intersect with very powerful people. And you'll be faced with the decision either to join them or to help them, join them or to decline. And history is replete with people who decline that offer. We all know how that ends. So those decisions are not a consequence of true desire, but of fundamental understanding of how life works. While others is just pure laziness. They don't want to work hard. There are people out there who are just completely lazy. They don't want to work hard. They want to spend time with family, watch a football game. They have all of these extra activities that superimposes their goals. And it's completely fine. If that's a conscious decision you've made for yourself, then carry on. But in tonight's video, we will recap or we will teach on the beginning phases as well as the end phases, which is the outcome. So I would expound the various difficulties you are most likely to encounter. In the beginning phases, you will be faced with problems like criticism, self doubt, loneliness. I want you to understand that this is completely normal. This is how it's supposed to be. Like I said, perception is everything. So once you encounter criticism, antagonism, people trying to talk you down or smear your reputation, do not take it personal. Do not think this is some assault from the kingdom of darkness or why me or the universe is always against me. That kind of rhetoric. I want you to understand this is perfectly normal. This happens on your path to success. And unfortunately, this is the advantage unbelievers have over us. A Christian takes action, he fails, he packs it up and goes on some kind of fasting and prayer or attributes it to the supernatural. Of course, things which are seen are formed from the things which are unseen. But if you take that scripture too literal, it would rob you of so many blessings because where the average Christian should apply persistence is applying prayer, and there's nothing wrong with it. But you see an unbeliever who has failed 6 times and is on the seventh business. Most Christians will not make it through three, at best two, before they start attributing the problem to the supernatural. Oh, anytime I have this dream and I see this thing, this bad thing would happen. My friend, Satan is only as powerful as your ignorance. Your ignorance of the word of God as well as his operation is what gives him that power. Satan is an opportunist, and once you find a wrong belief system, he will build a garrison to ensure you keep repeating that pattern to produce the outcome. I hope you understand. Beliefs. Once the devil can affect your mind, he doesn't need to do anything else. He will self destruct. It's like preparing a delicious meal and leaving out salt. It's enough to destroy the whole process. So if he can convince you that this negativity is behind your failure, then subconsciously you've come to the conclusion that there's nothing I can do to affect this situation. Well, I might as well just pack it up. Since something evil or something is going on behind the scenes that I cannot affect, what's the whole purpose of working hard? Well, let me make something clear. Even in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, it says, and nothing will be restrained from these people which they have set their heart to do. Individuals got together and they said, I will build a tower that will reach the heaven. Even God had to come down. Nothing will be restrained from these people. So all the devil can do is to make you stop. That's the only thing he can do, to make you stop. So in the beginning phases, you would face criticism, antagonism, and all of this is not a direct assault on your character, but the fact that your success is a direct revelation of their failure as well as mediocre mindsets. So if 5 people are in a room complaining how it's their father's fault while his mates were studying and trying to get good degrees or good jobs, he was dancing around and wasting time. So that's their excuse. Once you rise up, take responsibility, and begin making progress, it's most likely antagonism is a byproduct. Because what you're really fighting for is to retain their shield. You being successful reveals to them that their life is as a consequence of their own responsibility. It's a bad place for them to be. The reason I share situations like this to you is such that once you get to that situation, you do not think it's a personal attack on you. You understand perfectly that this is normal. I'm supposed to expect this. In fact, the reason people are mocking me, antagonizing me, is I'm doing something that you're not. If everybody was cheering me on, it means I'm just like them, which is not a position you want to be. At the infancy of my career, I've shared the story of how a roommate whom I used to ignore, I was very focused. I didn't have time to engage in their taradiddles and nonsense conversation. So he was showing me the latest developments in AI at the time, and I don't usually do this. I scrolled to the conversation between him and the other guy, and it was 20 minutes of brutal mockery. Ah, look at him. He thinks he's better than us. What does he think he can do? Who does he think he is? Don't worry, he thinks he can understand how life works by reading books, by studying the economy. I looked at that statement and I got excited. It was very interesting. I was supposed to get upset, but I was excited knowing that because I'm doing something you're not, I'm scheduling myself for achievements, for a reward privy to just me. So, criticism, antagonism, all of this are a byproduct of your actions. You would notice something different or something interesting rather when you were stupid, when you were wasting your life, when you had nothing going on for you. Where was the antagonism? Where was the various attacks from the kingdom of hell? Where were they? But as soon as you go up, decided enough is enough. This is the last time this thing would happen to me. This is the last time I would be in this boat. This is the last time XYZ would beg for finances and I would not have. This is the last time something like this would happen to my mother or happen to my sibling or happen to someone I care about and I do not have the requisite level of help to come through. And all of a sudden, by some providence, you begin to experience difficulties from all sides. So this is a byproduct. Come to the conclusion, it's normal. People are not going to like you. People are not going to like you. So that's the beginning phase. I'm trying to wrap up, unfortunately. I wanted this to be a very long conversation, but as you can see, out of light. So let's move on. The second one, which is the end product. Finally, you've achieved your outcome. All the late night hustle, every single thing you worked for is finally at your grasp. So there are two problems for the sake of time. There's more, but I'll narrow it down to two. There are two problems you would encounter once you arrive this phase of your life. The first one, complacency. Complacency. I studied the Bible, and the reason John's ministry was very important, he was not a complacent man. If you read the book of Revelation 1, 2, and 3, I mean, this guy was having encounters upon encounters. He was seeing things. He was the first person to see the majesty in all of his glory as a lamb, as a lion, as an eagle. He had all kinds of revelation. And one would think, because of these visions, because of these teachings, at least the young man has made a mark on history. He has written something that has never been done and would never be done. It's enough for him to rest. But I like Revelations 4. After this, I looked. After this, I looked. For you to look, you have to remove your gaze from here and focus your attention somewhere else. Remove your gaze from the previous result, the 1 billion naira, the $2 billion, the previous achievement, the good video, the good run, the good athlete, the good training session, the good approach, that thing that worked before, and focus on something new. As easy as this sounds, very few people can embody this. That while they are clapping, and my God, I've never heard it said in this fashion. This is the first time I heard someone speak like this. Oh, that was a nice game. Phenomenal music. You play like an angel. You sing like this. And you can still go back and keep improving yourself. When I hear all kinds of interesting comments, I just shelf it because my metric is relative to my vision, not the applause of men or my contemporaries. I measure effort based on where I see myself, not where people see me. After this, I looked. After this, I looked. And the scripture said he heard a voice that told him to what? To come up, to come up. That means there's an information they want to give him, but it cannot be relayed at lower echelon of society. He has to come up. And when you ascend, you are vibrating on the same frequency. There are things that can now be expounded to come up. So God was waiting patiently for this young man to look. How many things have you misplaced in life? How many opportunities have you missed simply because you didn't look? The first time I got monetized and when I started making money from various sources, it was enough for me to take my foot off the gas and at least enjoy the fruits of my labor. Enjoy the fruits of my labor. But I did something very interesting. I fired on. I had no time to consider. Like, it doesn't cross my mind to relax in this newfound thing or relax in this result. No, there are things to do. I have a lot. So once I achieve this goal, it's to the next one, to the next one. And peasants online might consider me unbalanced, or I need to rest, or you have to do this. It's your life. However you decide to do yours, it's fine. If you decide to limit yourself because you've achieved XYZ, there's nothing more to achieve. Then, if not, you look. In God, there's endless possibility. It's impossible for you to exhaust achievements with God. It is endless. Just when you think you've hit a pinnacle, you see something else. That's why the 24 elders are constantly worshiping him. Because once you raise your head, his form has changed. And in the Bible, at least, the government of heaven, to the degree of exposure to God, is proportional to the kind of light you emit. That's why when Angel Gabriel came to Zachariah and he doubted his prophecy, he said, "Be done." God didn't send me on this errand, but I should be in heaven enjoying the riches of God, and you doubt me. Be done. Did you hear a statement? I am Gabriel, who standeth in the presence of God be dumb for doubting me. It's equivalent to your boss secretary ordering free meal for everybody and some stupid employee gets up. Are you sure this is possible? Are you dumb? I am the secretary to the chief executive officer. Are you dumb? So there's always endless possibilities. There's always something to achieve. There's some new land to conquer. There's some new business to start. There's somebody to help. So that's the first one. Complacency. Fight complacency like you fight cancer. So the solution to complacency is vision. If you have vision, complacency dies. If you notice my previous statement, I said my metric is relative to my vision, not what people see of me. I know exactly where I'm headed and how to get there. That is my only metric. Vision. After this, I looked and he heard a voice. So you have vision. That vision keeps you in check. Now, every single one of you understands perfectly. I do not wrestle with effects. I find the cause of the problem and I provide solution. Wrestling with effects is a complete waste of time. You do not solve problems by solving problems. You solve problems by finding the cause of the problem and providing solution. So if you have vision, complacency dies by default. Vision of where you're going. Where do you see this company? And I've said it that businesses on getting a job is hinged upon these three principles: money, passion, and vision. Substitute money for hunger. Hunger, passion, and vision. A huge percentile of people open business for the first one. Hunger, a huge percentile of people get a job for the first one. But you notice something very interesting. Once you've passed the phase of hunger, the tuition fee is on time, the rent is paid, you can afford nice suits. What next? Is a decision you have to make for yourself. What next? Then vision takes over from hunger. Hunger can start the business, but it cannot sustain the business. Always postulating a financial objective on your business as opposed to approaching it from a service standpoint will limit you heavily, because then you are oblivious to feedback, to reviews, to how you can improve upon the product. In fact, this is an important life hack. If you want to improve your business, improve the quality of your service. Or if you want to get finance from your business, improve the quality of your service, then the people who are wealthy enough to value that quality would be attracted. And the kind of individuals who can't afford it but love to complain and cause problems would leave. How many of you have seen a rich person typing long list of negative comments? Exactly. They don't have time. The only reason they would leave a review is something they want to see. You're not critiquing your product or your brand. Hey, I'm XYZ. I conduce or I consumed your product. This is my feedback. You should do this, 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 and this. Come, you're done. Not this product is bad and I will not. No, that's a fool's way of participation. I saw a book one time. It cost $1,000, and I've not seen a negative review for that book. Why do you think is the case? Because of the quality of consumers. Anyways, that's the first one. The second one, and for the sake of time, excuse me. second one is sabotage. Humans foolishly believe in this idealistic world where if I'm honest, if I don't fight anybody, nobody should fight me. If my resume is clean, I shouldn't attract haters. I don't know you, you don't know me, don't come after me. All those kind of stupid rhetoric. But unfortunately, envy is a byproduct of growth. As you begin to progress, you naturally attract haters for the reasons aforementioned. They hate you because of your success. It's a direct revelation to their mediocrity. Secondly, they will do their best to sabotage your efforts. I'll share the story of a man of God, very sincere, and in an attempt to portray humility, he had no security, he had no protocols. So one day, at the inaugural center or the inaugural event of his 10,000 auditorium, a metric preachers used to measure success, as unfortunate as it sounds, but that's a different discourse in and of itself. So, at the inaugural event of this 10,000 auditorium commissioning, when everybody left, something very interesting happened. A 5-year old walked into his office and he moved closer to address the fact that she was undressed and maybe get her something to wear. And as he approached, a band of paparazzi burst through his door and took pictures. There is nothing you can say to get yourself out of that situation. Do you realize his image has been tarnished? And do you also realize he was targeted? I will not go into details because you'll figure out who I'm speaking about. And from that day, he began to decline. A full dome without members. That is my cue to end the video. Anyways, sabotage. Always guard yourself completely. Refute this mindset. Everybody should be happy. And if you don't look for problems, it wouldn't find you. You're not in Disney Island. Everything is not idealistic. Engage in these concepts and you'll be fine. As always, my friends, a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.